anyone, but who better than me?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to what we will now be calling the Casual Stream with your host, Face the Kid. As always, please like and subscribe, share with a friend, a colleague, a relative, an enemy, an associate, any and all in between. It's appreciated. If you haven't hit the like button already, please hit that like button. If you are in attendance, make yourself known. So I'd like to obviously get to speak to everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. This will, moving forward, be the time for the streams on Wednesday, provided nothing obviously happens which makes me have to push it back. But up until such a time, yeah, will be 8 o'clock so everyone can have their evenings to themselves. But yeah, shout out. And everyone, let me know if the level of the music is cool, if it needs to be turned up, if it needs to be turned down, and let me know how I'm sounding. Am I sounding clear? Do I need to try and adjust my mic? Do I need to get a headset? Like, just let me know so that we can kind of get into things and we could talk about what you guys want to talk about. I know there was the Canelo Munguia press conference. When was that? Yesterday, I believe. Yep. So I've watched that earlier on today, so kind of got that to talk about. The little switcheroo on the PBC card. We're definitely going to speak about that. Hence the graphic, the thumbnail. Shout out to Lunatoon Boxing, always, each and every time, for letting me use his work from Twitter. Obviously, if you guys ain't signed to Lunatoon Boxing on Twitter X, please make sure you go follow him. Amazing channel there. Instagram, I think he's on Threads as well. So yeah, let me know. Audio a tad on the low side. Okay, bear with me a moment. Turn it up slightly. All right, mic check. How we sounding now? Right, how is that in terms of the audio? Let me know. Okay, brilliant. Good. Audio's blessed now. Audio's blessed. Thank you very much. So, as with every stream that happens here, have to greet everyone in the chat who is giving up their time to watch and be a part. And today I will be putting a link out from about 8:40, 8:45 for 15 minutes. Anyone who wants to come on, have their say on anything, feel free. Don't worry, I ain't got to put cameras on, anything like that. Just make sure you got a decent connection. And yeah, 15 minutes a day, I'll definitely let people on. And this will be the Wednesdays moving forward. As I said, the casual stream, that's what we're calling it from now on. And yeah, let's just have some fun with it. So as always, doing the roll call. So Stay Blessed Be Real was first in the chat today. Big ups to you. Mulla, big ups to you each and every time. Jonah 31 as well. Philip Answer, of course. Jam Down 187. So the usuals are in the building. The Everwalts, the foundation of the channel. It is much appreciated. Lucan as well, big ups to you, another original member of the channel. Yeah, I think that's everyone who's put comments in the chat thus far, but I'm sure when each and every other person sort of pops in, we'll yeah, I'll hail at everyone else as well. Yeah, I'm gonna wait another minute or so just to let a few other people let this populate, and then we kind of talk about, I guess, the stuff that's happened earlier on in the week, and then depending on how well the interaction is with it, I think I might have to incorporate some little tads of it in the episode of the Hardcore Casual that will come out tomorrow, probably around about this time. Sometimes I'll do them in the morning, sometimes I'll do them in the afternoon, but I don't think I'm going to be available to do it after the stream, so it might have to be when I come back from my travels out the door. So yeah, Aki with an angle one, big ups to you. We need to check basis heritage. There's definitely Mexican in there. That's funny because I get told quite often Dominican is the other denomination. Aki, that's his Dominican side representing. There you go. Jam Down knows the settings. I am an honorary Dominican. We'll say that. By way of Jamaica, anyone who wants to know the heritage. So, but yeah, I'm in DR more than I'm in JA. So I think they probably claimed me at this point. Philip Ansel, is it? Base, never let Tony talk to you like that again. You know what? I was tired. Like there was I wasn't gonna get into a back and forth. As you guys saw, I tried to I held it together after that on the second time when it came in. But you know what? Sometimes it swings and roundabouts because there might be someone in Tony's comments maybe saying, "Oh, I didn't like the way Base spoke to you on that particular situation from previous times." So, you take the good with the bad, but it's all fuel in the fire for the spar. So don't worry. When the spar comes up, we'll put that footage out on one of the slow weeks of breakdown, or even on Monday Night Smoke or whatever. Or I might even debut on this channel for anyone like members or whatever. So we'll work it out. But yeah, appreciate that, Philip. Aki, I'm referring to his work rate. No, that's what Jam Down's referring to, because obviously Dominicans are also crazy workers as well. Like they work a lot. Maybe not to the level of what you would think the Mexican community do, but they're very hard workers as well. They're grafters, just like Mexicans. So that's why he's quoting the Dominican side as opposed to Mexican. But yeah, appreciate that. Okay, look, I think enough people. Enough people in the chat right now. So yeah, let's, I suppose, get into the first bits of news from earlier on in the week. All right. So first and foremost, we had Keith Thurman. He's now pulled out of his shot with Tim Tszyu, citing, I believe it's a bicep injury. I've seen some pretty interesting takes on this one. I know Ring IQ, shout out to Julius. I know he's got a very interesting take where he says he believes it was a setup all along. He was never supposed to face Keith Thurman, but they want to get the belt off Tim Tszyu. So now, rather than so they have him, they have him training for someone that's, a person as a mover you're gonna have to go and find, and then you give him a totally different opposite style in Sebastian Fundora as the replacement with only 2 weeks to go, who can't really adjust to training. Now, personally, it sounds very plausible, and Ring very intelligent, and he a lot of the time his predictions come correct. However, if they was gonna give Tim Tszyu a different opponent, or an opponent that's polar opposites, you at least want to give him one that can actually use the attributes correctly. Like Sebastian Fundora, like for him being 6'3" or 6'4" or whatever height he is, he doesn't fight like that. Therefore, there's going to be many opportunities for Tim Tszyu to be able to get into range on Sebastian Fundora and unleash body shots, unleash head blows. It's going to be a pretty, as far as I'm concerned, a pretty easy night for him. Sebastian Fundora has always kind of traded more on the fact that he's just naturally bigger than a lot of his opponents. But even though he beat the brakes off of Erickson Lubin, it was Lubin that kind of set the blueprint to show people how to beat him. How when he tries to collapse the pocket, how you just have to time him. You use your speed and your quickness on the inside, and you can end up clipping him. And obviously, with him being as tall as he is, his chin always hangs out there when he's looking to shoot shots. Even though he doesn't hold his chin up in the air because he's always looking down at people, he's always, when he leans forward, the way his shoulders are slumped, his neck and his neck muscles and his head always ends up being further forward. So you can always catch that chin if you're skilled enough to do it. And I do believe that Tim Tszyu is definitely skilled enough to, go to the target. And he's not going to be deterred by the jab of Sebastian Fundora, because he just doesn't have a really good jab. He's like I said, he's got the size. So if he's able to just sort of wrap Tim up and kind of try and walk him back from time to time, then he can have success in that field, in that motion. But something tells me that Tim's a very strong guy, and we have to bear in mind, like, obviously his roots are Russian, Eastern Bloc by designation, by origin, by bloodline. Plus, he's Australian, so Australians are tough. They're tough as hell. Russians are tough, technically correct most of the time, and they also a lot of the time have other advantages genetically that someone like Fundora, I don't think basically is going to be able to keep up with. So yeah, I actually think the Fundora fight, it might be harder from a physical standpoint. I think the Keith Thurman fight may have been trickier to sort of just pin him down, but it would have been, I guess, easier in terms of like the shots landed and sort of in that sense. But the Fundora fight is going to be much easier for me, for Tim Tszyu to actually get to the target and to, basically just to get to that target and to let the shots go. And if Mendoza, did what he did to him, Tim Tszyu, I feel like, is a better version of Brian Mendoza. They fight very, very similar. So, yeah, if Mendoza was able to do it, I think Tim Tszyu is definitely going to be able to do it, unless Sebastian Fundora's whole game plan is just to spoil and hold the entire night, which I don't think he'll do if the remit is to try and take the belt off of Tim Tszyu. So, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that one. Do I think it's a better fight? I think it's a more fan-friendly fight because, as I said, like Brian Mendoza, Sebastian Fundora is going to be in range to get hit from round 1 to round 12 for whenever it lasts. But whereas Keith Thurman would have been, he would have been moving, trying to pot shot, trying to sort of stay away. So I can kind of see that maybe, changing the dynamics. Now, in America, it's actually already showing up on their Prime accounts as to the the actual being able to order it and buy it. But I checked my Prime account the other day and it's not there. So I don't know how long it will take before we get the option to see it on ours, or if we're even getting to watch it on Prime, or if it will maybe distribute to another platform, which wouldn't really make much sense. But I don't know. If anyone else has been on their Prime Video account, let me know if it's showing up on yours, the non-USA contingent, because that would be very interesting to find out. But yeah, overall, I like the fight more just from a standpoint as I know a guarantee that there's going to be a violent knockout. I might even put some money on it. But if it's a pay-per-view over here, then I'll definitely be paying for it. Like, I know it's pay-per-view in the States. Whoever wants to buy it over there, feel free. But even with 2 belts on the line, I won't be doing that. But I will be paying for the next fight, which will obviously be Tim Tszyu versus Terence Crawford, which has to take place a maximum of 4 months after this fight. And Tim Tszyu likes to be active, so I guarantee that he'll take maybe 2 or 3 weeks off to go back home, see the family, and then he'll come straight back to America to do another camp, and they'll get that one set up. Now, it may not end up being a PBC event. It might become, they may end up having to sort of shop it around. The WBO may call purse bids if a deal can't be reached in time, and if that's the case, I guarantee Matchroom will swoop that one up, just because they've got already sort of their Australian branch, the zones, it works over there. They'll be able to do big pay-per-views on the zone over there, and they'll be able to do pay-per-views in the USA. Still won't be any over here, which is good. But I can see that one. I don't think Top Rank would bid enough to make that fight happen, but I definitely see DAZN doing so. Let's see who else is in the building. A few other people have popped up. Fidel Tawaldi, big ups to you. Do you think Crawford will take a fight before taking the Zoo? No, he's going to go straight into that fight now. If he wasn't already in that contract with Errol Spence up until February, he likely would have taken another fight around about November, December time. Maybe even like in February, he would have had one there, and then gone on to gone on to sort of that May, June, July date. But right now, there's no point in him taking a fight, because he won't be able to get one and have a camp until, where are we now? We're at almost the end of March, so that camp isn't going to really take place, or the fight won't happen until at earliest mid to late May. So by that time, you're like 6 or 7 weeks out from the past date that you can do the mandatory slot. It wouldn't be worth it, and I think him calling his mandatory immediately, I don't think he's in line to, because they've already said there's a 180-day grace period, so I don't think they'd allow him to take a fight in that period of time. When you got the belts, it does work a little bit different. But yeah, if it wasn't, he should have. What he really probably should have done was, as soon as he came out of that contract, just arranged a nothing fight for maybe smaller money on a smaller platform around about end of March, start of April. But that could have pushed back everything else. So no, he's not going to take another fight. Nor does he really need one. He's someone that keeps himself in shape, keeps active anyway. So there's not going to be ring rust for him. Damien Cowie, Fundora don't use his size to manage the distance. He'll try and fight up close and lose 100%. He'll give Tim all the real estate he needs. Also, big ups to you, Damien. If yes, do you think it would be Furman or Garcia at 154? Yeah, no, like I said, unless he was gonna be on that PBC card on the 30th, there's no fight for him. Which is funny, because I guess he could have stepped in to be the Boachuk, the Boachuk opponent for that interim WBC, and when him already having his WBO superstars, then he could have been, the mandatory for both belts. So you can't even try and drop one to not face him, because you'd have to face him, because you've got 2 of the 4 that he's already a mandatory for. But yeah, he's not doing that. Aki with an angle 1, so Jared Anderson versus Deontay Wilder, Hrgovic versus Dubois, rumors of Yard versus Buatsi happening, Garcia still moving brazy, Crawford still dressing like a Congolese uncle. What else is new this week? So I haven't seen anything of Crawford, so I can't really comment on that. Jared Anderson versus Deontay Wilder, I haven't heard about that. Hrgovic versus Dubois was kind of been talked about for a little while. Obviously, Daniel Dubois did call him out in that very funny training video that he had with Don Charles. What was that, about a month ago now? Maybe 6 weeks. Yeah, I mean, the Yard Buatsi stuff, I mean, I think that's something that I may speak about on the episode tomorrow, but I'm sure I'll talk about a little bit of it later on today. Apparently, it could be set within a week, or it could be announced in as early as a week from now. If it does, I'll be interested to see which broadcaster it goes on, the first fight, because I'm sure that they'll want to probably have like a 2-fight series, whether it will be TNT Sports to get it, or whether it will be Sky Sports. But if it happens, good luck. Garcia still moving brazy. I mean, yeah, in terms of Garcia, I'll leave that alone for the time being until there's any real proper developments. The slow motion shadow boxing thing was yeah, that was fun. I'm not gonna lie, that was funny, especially the Derek James in the background. That's, I feel like, yeah, I think it could almost be like this is a prank on Derek James, just to see how much he can take before he quits the camp. So he's like, okay, how much can we get away with while we're here? Because he looks like a defeated guy in the press conferences, in all of the training videos. He just looks like, I'm sure there's Ashton Kutcher's gonna come out from the corner at one point and say, you've been punked, got ya, because he looks so bewildered, like, is this what life has really become for me? It's actually quite funny. Let's see who else. Jam down Fidel. I doubt any promoter is ready to pay Terence Crawford the fight Percy would be expecting at this stage in his career for tick over fights on a one fight deal. Exactly. Fidel, probably true, but I believe Matchroom would do it. Not unless they had guarantees that they could do the next fight, or if they could at least, or if he said, look, I'll make sure it goes to purse bid, so you guys have the opportunity to win it. But Eddie's already said that he doesn't have the money for Crawford, and he doesn't have anyone for Crawford to fight. The only person actually, possibly at 154, if he was prepared to do it, he could say to Crawford, you want to face Israel Madrimov for that WBA title, and then do a unification with Tim Tszyu afterwards for the other two. But again, the timeline still doesn't work because Madrimov only just fought a couple of days ago, like 2 weeks back, and that fight wouldn't happen until at the absolute earliest, like the end of May. And then you still got up until July when you have to satisfy your mandatory shot. So yeah, the timeline just doesn't work, unfortunately. But it would have been good for him to get out and get active again. But he's only looking for the big fights now. He doesn't want warm-ups. He wants the Tszyu fight for four division champion, especially for a unified champion as well. And then he wants Canelo. I think those are the only two fights. He said if you can't get Canelo for that undisputed, then he'll retire. So Philip answer. Apparently Dubois versus Hrgovic is in talks for June 1st. Funnily enough, who was it? I was speaking with Danny from Fight Fan TV. Shout out to Danny, by the way. And he had actually said to me that he believed that the reason why Dillian Whyte did the fight with Christian Hammer was to kind of get him back out, get him active, so that they could put him against Daniel Dubois in the 5v5 for June. And I said, yeah, I don't see it happening that way because Dillian still needs maybe a little bit more activity. I don't think he got enough in. But I wouldn't be surprised if Eddie Hearn re-signed Filip Hrgovic on the 1 or 2 fight deal, because obviously they had the prior relationship. He's a free agent, re-sign him, and then make him face Daniel Dubois, especially because Daniel Dubois did call him out like 6 weeks ago. And I'm pretty sure Hrgovic would feel like he, will beat Daniel Dubois quite comfortably and keep his IBF status. So, yeah, if that is the case, then it's what I predicted would happen if there was a heavyweight clash on there. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. JD, big up to you, Josh. Mark my words, Munguia will not come to fight against Canelo. Callum Smith didn't, neither did Jamel. There's a theme. No. Josh, 100% Munguia will come to fight. He will come. Remember, you got to remember, Mexican pride is different. I don't think I've ever, and this is in my lifetime, and maybe someone else has. If you have, let me know. But I've never seen a Mexican fighter basically just go through the motions. Actually, no, I can't even say that. Chavez Jr. But do we really count him? All right, a regular Mexican. Okay, so yeah, so not Chavez Jr. We have to strike him from the record. But on the whole, they always try, because the honor in them is winning or being soundly defeated. There isn't, there's no honor in running or being safe. And they know they can't go back to Mexico and be looked at the same. That their code of honor works different over there, just like in Japan. You can't just mail it in or phone it in. Like you have to go out on your shield, or you have to claim victory. It's one or the other. So yeah, I don't think that's a problem. Luke and Char versus Pulev next week on DAZN. Yep, for the WBA regular title. So basically, whoever wins that is going to sell the belt to the highest bidder in their next fight. Because the WBA, they tried to move it out of circulation, but they had to keep they had to keep Manuel Char happy because obviously he never got his chance, and the last there was something that happened, and basically the way that they appeased him to not get sued was to bring the regular belt back and to give him that belt so that he could use it as a segue to a potential title shot. So yeah, Smallsy, big up to you. Ryan Garcia's handlers are playing weekend at Bernie's, trying to get him to the Haney fight and get paid. Yeah, I agree with that. 100%. Luke, and call me mad. I don't really see much of an issue if Crawford fights Canelo. Canelo is not much bigger than him. Very true. I've said, like, obviously to go up to 168 is crazy to fight the majority of people up there, but Canelo, you know, he operates up there because of his skill set. Like, he's not a big guy. Like, a lot, obviously he's put on some muscle, some size now, but he operates up there because he's been able to handle sort of those bigger guys and handle the situation. Crawford has a lot of advantages on Canelo in terms of speed, in terms of accuracy, arm length, so reach as well. You know, Canelo probably has a raw power advantage, but Crawford has got a sniper power, that Canelo probably hasn't faced yet. Someone as accurate and as hard punching as Crawford would cause him problems. As I know a lot of people feel, oh, it's 3 weight classes, whatever. No, to me, it's a solid matchup. But I think that's the reason why Crawford is targeting Tszyu, because he's proven, all right, look, I'll come up to this weight class, and now I'm in the same weight class that Jermell Charlo was. What excuse have you got now? Because you fought him without any problem, so why not fight me? I think that's going to be the process. And then it would just sort of build, and it would just make it a bigger fight for more money. It would even, unfortunately, be more appealing than the Benavidez fight, because there's more legacy that you can kind of garner from it. Crawford v Tszyu. Big ups to you, Tom. Smallsy, Hergovich versus Dubois is a good 50-50. I'd enjoy it. Chavez Jr. ain't no Mexican, he's from California. You know, I don't even know if he speaks English, you know. I agree with you, but I remember, because every time I've seen him in interviews and stuff, I've never heard him speak English, so I don't know. I know he was born in Mexico, but yeah, maybe that lifestyle got to him. But yeah, I agreed. He's the only outlier in what I said earlier about Mexicans and their pride. Fidel Tawaldi, Canelo versus Munguia will be competitive until the later rounds when Canelo KOs Munguia. But that Dubois or Ngannou, who wins in a spelling bee? Ngannou. 100%. That's Ngannou's a very bright individual, you know. And obviously, you have to remember, a man that knows multiple languages has to be smart to some degree. He knows French, English. I think there's some other native sort of dialects that he's picked up. Ngannou is a very intelligent person, and the way he handles business, he's his own promotion. So yeah, that one didn't quite hit. Maybe, you know, I'm sorry, that one didn't hit as much as you probably wanted it to. But cool. Fidel, of all realistic possible fights for Canelo, Crawford has the highest chance of being the first to KO him. I think that's correct. I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that. But with that being said, okay, so let's talk about Canelo versus Munguia. As I said, press conference was yesterday. I think that, now to be honest, I was watching it earlier, but I was watching it kind of, I needed a nap before I went to the gym. So I was kind of listening without really taking it in. And obviously a lot of it was in Spanish, which luckily I do understand. I'd say I understand about 70% of Spanish right now, and I speak about 30%. So I was able to make most of it out without having to use the, without the guy doing the translation subtitle or whatever. So yeah, ultimately it wasn't anything special. It was a very respectful a very respectful press conference, which, you know, Jaime Munguia is never an animated person. Canelo is not really very animated unless he believes that someone disrespects him prior to. You know, hence why he kept saying in that Charlo one is like, oh, he talk a lot of shit, but he not saying nothing right now. And he was just like, he was waiting for Charlo to say something. And I've always maintained, obviously, the Charlos very much they bark from behind the screen, innit? Just like a lot of other people, there's a lot that, you know, they bark behind the screen. As soon as you get up close, all of a sudden it's a different energy, and they definitely fall under that category. But someone like Jaime Munguia, I don't think I've ever seen him get animated, get fiery, get angry in a press conference, because maybe he hasn't been the necessary opposition that brings it out of him, but just hasn't needed to. So yeah, look, very respectful. Ultimately, it's, you know, a big Mexican v Mexican on Cinco de Mayo weekend, so no doubt it's going to do very well in terms of pay-per-views and stuff. I'm not sure though which one works the which matchup in America works the best, African American against Mexican or Mexican versus Mexican. I'm not sure which one. I think Puerto Rico versus Mexican used to be their second, but that I think might have dropped down to third now. Obviously there's the little rivalry, the island rivalry, and the city rivalry, country rivalry there, but I don't think that one's as prominent as African American against Mexican American or Mexican, because then you get to be tribal and you get to be, you know, a little bit black versus brown to some people, which can obviously, you know, it can start to skirt the borders of very sort of racially charged language and action and whatever. Whereas when it comes to Puerto Rico versus Mexico, it's just very much more of a nationalistic pride of the, you know, of the two Hispanic communities. So yeah, but no, I think it's going to do pretty well. Big up to Cuz D'Amato, big up Base. Yep, thank you very much. And yep, Jam Down, you know exactly where I was coming from. Danny Jacobs exposed the type of guys them Charlo brothers are, 100%. Because Dan, that was with Jamal. Jamal got very, very quiet when that whole thing happened. And what was funny about that is the fact that Danny Jacobs rolled up on his ones. Both the Charlos was there. He was by himself, and they still didn't have the energy they needed to have, considered to how they'd been talking before. Damien Cowie, Mexican versus someone else draws two audiences with a horse in the race. Well, in theory, yes, but it depends on, does that audience buy pay-per-views? Because it worked, if you remember, it worked if like the main person was the other guy, because the Mexican community will jump in. Like, remember when Floyd fought Berto, it only did like, I think 200 or 300,000 pay-per-view buyers, or 400,000. But like every time he faced a Mexican star, it was 900,000 plus. The Pacquiao obviously was a huge one, but that drew in everyone, because that had sort of the African Americans, it had the Filipino crowd, it had the Mexican crowd, that had everyone in it. But yeah, I mean, think about it, like Mexican versus Uzbekistani, that's not drawing anything. It's only going to be the Mexicans buying it. Mexican American against Puerto Rican, that one works. Mexican American versus Cuban, no, it's only going to be the Mexicans buying it realistically. The same thing with Dominicans, Russian, like, you know what I mean? So no, even though it's two crowds, I don't think it only really generates if it's a crowd that they have a fierce rivalry with. And ultimately I believe that's African American if the Mexican is the B side, because then you'll get some African Americans out there, but then you'll get most of the Mexicans coming in just for that. But if the African American guy is the B side of that, then it's going to be mainly the Mexicans buying it. It's going to be mainly the Mexicans in attendance, because that's what we've seen. So yeah, but big up Damien, and big up to Danny Fight Fan TV. Yeah, I was literally just speaking about what we was talking about the other day with regards to Dillian Whyte and and Daniel Dubois, what you said on the WhatsApp. And I said, no, I think it would be more likely to be Hrgović, and they'll re-sign Hrgović to the deal. And they said, and yeah, ultimately it seems to be proved right that apparently Hrgović versus Dubois is going to be one of the fights on the 5v5. Now, that's something obviously I'd heard before. I heard that there was another opponent that they was potentially looking at if he didn't go on that card. But those were the two that I kind of heard about, and I'm pretty happy to see that one. Floyd versus Berto was 400k. Yep, that's what I thought. Is but very low compared to all the others when he's in there with another Mexican guy. And as you proved, so that's foundational Black American or African American versus Caribbean Haitian who has no fan base. So it's 400,000 people of the African American community that dealt with that. And then Pfeiffer says, "Yeah, you was right, Stradamus." I mean, appreciate it. I mean, I get them right every now and again. But yeah, is there anything else to really? What's this? I hope White versus Joyce happens. I wonder how many of those deadly left hooks he can take. Interesting. Hot Pies, big ups to you. Yeah, I mean, look, White versus Joyce. I think that would be. I think if they both got one fight, they have one fight each, and then you kind of do it from there. I think you could have that because at least both of them will be as fresh and as active and well oiled as they can be. Let's see. Ali Kumadi says, why do fighters hold foreign boxing licenses? Highly suspicious. Okay, so obviously I can only give you an opinion. I can't necessarily actually, let me keep that up there. I can't give you a definitive, but for the most part, some of the time it's because I think there's a certain fee that you pay, obviously, if you're in the UK on a British Boxing Board license. And a lot of the time, some people want to live outside the country. They want to train outside the country. And it ends up, I guess, being cheaper for them to get a license from another state or another country that, is still recognized across the world, because every boxing license in every territory is recognized. It's just about whether you can be granted permission on your license to fight in a certain territory. And I believe probably a Texas Commission license or that Portuguese license that he held prior to the Texas one, I'm pretty sure they're probably just cheaper, and maybe there's less stuff that you have to submit and hand over before doing so. And I would assume that would be the reason why a lot of people do it. And when it pertains to when it comes to both Dillian Whyte and Tyson Fury, for instance, I remember they both had issues with the BBBOC with regards to certain regulations or feeling of not being treated in a proper manner, or not being given the same due care and respect as others. So possibly then said, all right, well, forget renewing this license. I can get one from somewhere else that I'm based, or I can do that instead, and it's going to be cheaper, and I can still come over here and fight. So that's what I would say. But in terms of it being highly suspicious, I mean, they all still have to abide by WADA protocols, and there's fundamental sort of boxing association duties and tasks that you have to deal with. So, you know what I mean? I'm not going to put Danny's comment up on there, but anyone in the chat can see it. But Jam Down's like, no, Danny, wherever he is, don't link it to you. Yeah. But yeah, very true. But look, it's that seems pretty what I'm going to do now, I'll put a link in the chat, and anyone who wants to come on for the next 20 minutes, give your opinion on anything whatsoever, feel free to do so. If you want to keep it to the topics that we've got here, do that. And yeah, I'm gonna keep everyone to a few minutes though. And yeah, Mother said, yeah, we don't accept Floyd for certain things he's been doing recently. Yeah, we revoke all cards at any moment for any indiscretion. That's you know, that's just, it has to be done from time to time. But yeah, I'm gonna keep anyone who does come on, I'm gonna keep them brief to say 3 minutes, 4 minutes max. And then yeah, we'll kind of move on. And if no one does decide that they want to jump on, no problem. There's not really much else that's happened over the last couple of days that I can't cover in the episode tomorrow. So yeah, I'll be more than happy to let everyone duck out early. So I'll give it another 2-3 minutes. If no one joins, then yeah, we'll call it a night. Or if there's anything in the comments, if anyone who's obviously in the comments wants to talk about a certain subject, I can touch on that before heading out of here. But as always, I thank everyone that is watching, everyone that's locked in, everyone that's tuning in, and everyone obviously that was dropping super chats over the weekend, especially for the Zepeda and Maxi Hughes stream, obviously because of the time of night it was. Much appreciated. And obviously the Magnificent Seven. So yeah, long may that continue also. Fight Fan says, jam done. I know we gotta eat the L, as yeah, he's definitely moving dumb. So that's his FBA side via Floyd Senior. As I know his mum ain't condoning the BS. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Right, Philip Ansard. Do you think Tyson Fury is talking himself confident ahead of the Usyk fight? Most definitely. I feel like he's trying to get himself into I feel like he's talking himself into a state of frustration. He's frustrated with the circumstances and the situation, and he kind of needs to get himself G'd up and riled up to go through with obviously what he needs to deal with. I feel like that's basically the situation with him and how he's kind of been moving. A lot of it, I believe, is just out of frustration. He doesn't want this fight. He's never wanted this fight. He knows that this fight is like, even if he wins, it's going to take something from him. It's one of those ones. It's a bit like, I guess, the third Wilder fight. Maybe even the first one. It's like you win the fight, but it takes something from you. The same with the Otto Wallin fight. It was draining for him. The first McDermott fight was draining. Like, you know what I mean? So, as Jamda said, 100% he's terrified of that fight. All right, Danny's jumped in. All right, so let me add Danny to the stage. Shout out, Danny, you there? All right, is he having technicals? This is your moment. Are you having technicals? What's going on? Okay, he's probably all right. If he jumps back on, I'll let him back in. So I keep stream going for a little bit more. But yeah, 100%, man. Look, it's I think Fury is he's not about that fight. Like I said, even if he wins, I could imagine if he wins this fight, he retires. There's no rematch. He's not gonna do it. Because it's going to be one of those physically taxing fights. He's going to be like, I don't need this again. Oh, there's Danny. Here he is. Hold on. Shout out Mr. Glover. What's popping?
Popping, man. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone's well. Yeah, talking about Fury, what do you think about the fact he's looking very slim, but the legs are looking mad skinny? Like, I know his legs have always been quite skinny, but they're looking very skinny in these training videos. Even when I see him trying to do leg press and he's having to hold his knees, it's like he nearly cracked them.
I mean, look, unfortunately that's his body type, and he didn't do anything to affect that from when he was younger, innit? Because obviously when it comes to like legs and that, to offset what your legs are going to be, you've got to train them from early and then maintain it. It's clear that he was never big on training the legs, especially as he was like, oh well, if I use them for speed, they can't be like big and blocky. But now it's really backfiring because they've had to hold all of that excess weight for God knows how long, and yeah, it's now it's starting to catch up with him.
Yeah. So, also, what do you think about the comments? Obviously, Usyk saying, you know, my training camp never stopped. I've just kept going.
Yeah, he
and
said
now,
your camp's just starting, mine never stopped. That tells obviously, but that what that tells you is that he has been locked into this. And if you think about it, when he says that, he's not even just talking about from when they first signed the fight. He's talking about from when he came up to heavyweight. He already said that when he came to heavyweight initially, the plan was to take out the champions. He looked at he obviously looked at Fury and Deontay Wilder, and when that happened, I think he said, "Okay, I'm definitely gonna have to see Tyson Fury." And then he looked at Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua was the first one because he was going that WBO route. But he always said, I'm gonna have to take out the two Englishmen." And he was specially gunning for Fury, just for the simple fact that Fury obviously beat Vladimir, who was the national hero. And he's like, I've got to come for vengeance, almost like I have to restore pride in Ukraine. So he was studying both of them from before he even went to heavyweight. But as soon as he got to heavyweight, he had both of them on his radar. He said it himself. So his camp has never stopped for them. He's been eyeing them guys up. He's always wanted to take them down. And even in his if you hear a lot of his pre-fight stuff, he even had a passage. I can't remember what it was, where it was from, but he said before every fight, before every training camp, he wishes his opponent the best of health. He says, I don't want any niggles. Like I don't want any impairments to you. I want you to be in prime health. I want your camp to go as good as it possibly can go. I want you to train as hard as it can go, and I will do the same. Purely so when we get in the ring, it is the best of us that we have to give to the people, and the best person will succeed. So even then, he's telling you, I'm always training like you are the elite of the elite. So I'm coming for the smoke. I want the smoke. And that just makes my victory even sweeter. He said that's his. I'm not sure it came from some kind of ancient warrior, but that was one of their quotes. Like, I pray for my opponent to be in perfect health in battle to make the victory sweeter.
yeah, because I remember someone asking him, "Oh, why didn't you knock out AJ?" And he's like, "What? Are you bloodthirsty? You bloodbath or something?" He's like, "I just want to win. I don't want to like do some serious damage on anybody." Because obviously, for him, he probably knows that for him to knock him out, he's really gonna have to probably lamp him a good few times. Which, as we know, is the accumulation of shots which does the most damage. It's best to always get iced by a one-hit wonder rather than an accumulation beatdown. That's where the main damage is really done. But then, yeah, also I wanted to, I'm not sure because I didn't lock in from the beginning. I saw the interview with Mr. Canelo today, and he's talking about, David Benavidez doesn't offer me nothing but £25 more on fight night.
Yeah.
So that lets me know that he's very cognizant and a bit unnerved by the fact he probably feels Benavidez is somewhat of a weight bully in his opinion, and that he's going to have to deal with someone outweighing him by so much. He said he brings nothing to the table. We know he does. Hence, you're asking for double your career highest payday. You're asking for 200 mil or 150. I don't think he's even made 100 mil on a fight before.
I think his highest that he's made, obviously gate and purse, is about 80, 85. But he's being facetious in the terms of the 200 million. He doesn't mean that, but he's saying, look, ultimately make me an offer, because again, there's never actually been an offer made to him to face Benavidez. Al Heyman never put Benavidez in the contract. Benavidez's team can't make him an offer because they ain't got the money to pay him. Like, Matchroom have said that they will do it, and then Samson Lukowicz, the same guy I told you about from before, said, cool, fine, yeah, but we want the US rights. So you wait, you want the rights to the fight, but you want the zone to pay for it. Like clearly that's not even Ness. Remember Ness from Boxing Voice? Even he said, so clearly you're killing the fight because it can't. That's not gonna happen.
No, but also what he done was dumb. Was remember he said he posted, oh yeah, we offered 55, but then he had to take it down.
Yeah,
'cause
he
he's
took it
lying.
down. But remember, he said he offered 55 plus the Mexican rights, the Mexican TV rights, which Canelo already had and gave away for free.
Yeah.
So when I'm telling, look, I understand this, right? Don't get me wrong. Benavidez, he's very cognizant that he will outweigh him massively on fight night. That's quite clear. Even Bivol did, and Bivol isn't that much bigger, but everyone outweighs him on fight night, so that's not really a huge thing. But I truly think he's just saying to himself, you know what? If this is who they want me to fight, then that means that there's a demand. If there's a demand, I can get more money. So someone make me an offer that's worthy of me fighting this brother. That's how I look at it. And if we're being totally honest, remember, Benavidez was going to be made mandatory for the 168 belt on the 12th of March, right?
Yeah.
So why did he then go and announce that he's going to 175 the month before? And then saying, "Oh, well, if I get that one, then I'm going to go up to cruiserweight to face Zerdo Ramirez instead."
Yeah.
So as soon as Lau Canelo is quote unquote free of any obligations, free of the PBC, can go and make this deal. You've got your manager saying, "Yeah, well, we want the TV rights for the fight." You're moving up to 175, then talking about moving up to cruiserweight. So when are you coming back down to 168? Because he's not fighting you at 175.
No.
I definitely think Benavidez will beat him if he fights him at 175 when he then gets in the ring at 210 pounds a day after. 100%. And the fact he's getting up to 175 probably means that when it gets time to like as soon as he lets his body fill out to 175, it's gonna balloon. The same as what happened with what's her name?
Well, I'll just say Zerdo because look at him.
Well, him, but Michaela Mayer. As soon as she let her body fill out from 130, she can't even do like 140 now if she wanted to. Like her body is just big. She just got she just ballooned out because once you let your body go for so long, as soon as it gets all of that, there's no coming back down. So I don't think he's got designs on facing Canelo. I think I've always said this, I've always maintained this, and I know you may disagree, but the evidence is starting to come together where you might have to say, you might be right, but it's been a carefully laid out PR plan to get, this guy's ducking me, so that more interest comes to your other fights. You go off and do your other things. Same as the Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua thing, even the Tyson Fury Anthony Joshua. I think that the evidence is starting to come there to make it look like that's what we're looking at.
Oh, I hope not. Because I hope not. But if we're going to go by history, PBC haven't always been the most honourable of men. Do you know what I mean? And you've unfortunately trumped me on a few occasions. So I hope my nephew don't do me because I've claimed him. So I hope he don't do me. But
remember, let's not forget, he's got Vosdick problems right about now. Let's worry about that one and then possibly circle back to the whole Canelo argument afterwards.
Yeah, because that's a major issue right there. That's a very big task to take as your debut 175.
And I rate him for that, by the way, because remember, everyone says, I don't dislike the brother. I just don't think he's that good. I think he's just a basic fighter, but I rate him for doing that. Because that's like you said, that's a very dangerous move to do in your first attempt.
Yeah, I definitely rate that. So we'll have to see. That one's going to be a good one, that's for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. So anyway,
all right. Listen, Danny. Listen, safe to you. I think you are the only one that's jumped on, but I'm gonna let you get back to work. I'm gonna end the stream in a moment. So big up, and we'll chat soon. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Bless up.
Bless. Okay, let's read out a couple of the comments. Let's get that outro music going. As you know, I like to have my little. You guys will hear it on the videos all the time. This means that it's coming to an end. Let's get to the last bit of comments, and then let's see, where was we? Mulla Danny live and direct from the office, 100%. Gotta rate and respect that. Stay blessed. It was nearly as bad as when Wilder tried that deadlift. Yeah, I remember that. Or the bench press. Let's not forget the bench press that he tried. That was also horrid. Jam down. All that extra time has done is allowed Usyk to hone his skills at handling the taller, heavier man. Although the one thing I will say, Jam down, is there is always a potential of overtraining, and with the kind of training that Usyk does, you really have to be very careful in that. So I hope that his trainers and his team have been managing like his loads throughout those downtimes and when they're in activity, because obviously, yeah, he does a lot of his stuff is all like, unorthodox, and a lot of it is motional and fluid movement. So he definitely does need to have had a couple of rests in between, and it's more about keeping his diet on point for when he needs to go back into the training. But yes, I agree. The extra time helps him. Obviously, extra time allows Fury to get into slightly better shape, but I think his cardio isn't really going to hold up like that. Reese Cooper, big ups to you. Jam down. Watch from the 5th round of that fight onwards. It's going to be a schooling from Usyk. Tyson will be blowing from the major uptake in movement. Well, funny you say that. People don't realize or they try not to realize that, but in the second Wilder fight, when Fury was starting to go on the front foot and he was actually throwing a lot more punches than he normally does, he was blowing heavy from about round 4 all the way through to the 7th round. If you look at him in between and even in the rounds, he's breathing heavy, like, because he wasn't used to such a high output. So yeah, it's very true. Hi Lucan, how sustainable is Usyk's style? He's 36 and doesn't have serious punching power to keep the bigger guys off him. He's got a hard enough punch to deter them. Trust me. You've never seen anyone in cruiserweights or even in heavyweight just walk through his punches. They hurt Joshua. It almost stopped Chisora. He let Chisora off the hook. Obviously, he put down Dubois. Dubois didn't just walk through the punches. So, like, he's got get off of me power, which is enough. But the movement and stuff, yeah, look, he's 37 now. He was 37 in January. So realistically, he's got this year and maybe next year before like the movement slows down. The gas tank will probably be all right, but the movement and the reactions might sort of taper off a bit. Hi, Luke, and isn't it not Canelo who said he will never fight a Mexican? What suddenly changed? He never said he would never. He said he doesn't want to fight his Mexican brethren because obviously they're all representing Mexico. But he's fought Mexicans before, and he's never said he would never fight them. He just said he'd rather not. But yeah. Hi, Luke, and Usyk is beginning to show signs of physical slippage. After beating Fury, I wouldn't be shocked if he retires unless the rematch purse is astronomical. I think he'll retire after the first fight because he's beat who he needs to beat. I mean, Wilder's not an option. He's no longer an option for him for any viability. He's beaten the two best guys in the heavyweight division, Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, and taken the belts off of all of them and become undisputed. He's already said once he becomes undisputed, his goal is complete, and once his goal is complete, he's quite happy to bow out. Benavidez is 100% using Canelo, is ducking me marketing for his last few fights, and will continue to do so moving forward. Yep. I'll be shocked if Fury wins. One of boxing history's biggest frauds with the help of media. He's slightly above David Price level. In the UK alone, AJ always, and now Dubois Wardley beat him too. Interesting take on that last part. Guys, please hit the like, as Danny says. He's kept AJ and Dubois off of him, so it's hard enough. Yep, exactly as I said. He's got that get off me power. Philip answer: did you see Canelo's response to Mike Tyson's opinion on Benavidez? I would respect his opinion if he was sober. That's a good one. Usyk has approximate Parker level power, which is good enough. Untraceable, big up to you. Canelo is a chicken. All right, cool. Toby Bartlett, shout out to you. Usyk has earned the right to retire with his head held high, but he would know he didn't beat the current best. He beat the AJ that was the guy. and then he beat him in the rematch when he quote unquote improved as well. Then what benefit does it need to go for him to go 3-0 against him? He did. Yeah, I don't agree with that one, but fair enough. All right, someone else has just joined the chat, so I'm gonna invite them on very briefly, and then we're gonna sign out. So let's see who this is. Waleed, you're on the show. Big up.
Yes, Base the Kid. This is my first time tuning in.
Love that.
So my guy, Anthony Hayweather, he troubled your man a couple weeks back. He put me onto this show actually.
Okay.
I tried to get in on them man's show the other night. I thought it was a quiet night. This should be easy to get in, but I think I joined a bit too late. So I've come to this show where I can get on a lot quicker.
Go for it, man. What's your thoughts?
Basically, I've seen a lot of people comparing. So what they're doing is they saw the Fury and Ngannou fight, and then they saw the AJ and Ngannou fight, and they're basically trying to draw comparisons of how the AJ Fury fight would plan out, which I get it. Like, you're naturally going to do that. But I think what a lot of people are unaware of, when Fury was fighting in Ngannou, when it was announced, it was like this big gimmick fight. Like, oh, here we go again. UFC guy coming over to boxing, whatnot. So Fury naturally is going to be like, oh, I got a big fight coming up. This guy's just a quick paycheck. He's going to kind of take it like just lightly. And the same thing for Ngannou. He's going to be taking it as like, rah, nobody rates me. Yeah, I'm a UFC champion. I wasn't getting paid right, but I'm here now. Like, it's going to be this big monster he's created in his head that I need to be ready for. So with both of those elements, you get what happens on the night. You get one man not taking it seriously, having to kind of just get it over the line. And then you got another guy who's kind of like taking it so seriously, put in a decent performance. And now he's like, yeah, I did well. So fast forward it to AJ now, he's got the opposite. It's like, oh, wow, this guy's troubled supposedly the best boxer in the world. And like, I'm going to take this seriously. I'm going to lay down the gauntlet here. And the same thing with Ngannou. Now he hasn't got this monster in his head. He's thought, oh, I've gone in there with Fury. Like, everyone says he's the best. And I did all right in there. Like, I stayed in there. I dropped him. So Ngannou's probably not taking it too seriously either. And then you get what's happened on the night, just a total obliteration. So I feel like they just need to be a bit careful when they're comparing the two, because both the mind states of both the fighters are totally different on both occasions.
So let me just get this correct. So you think that AJ took it super serious and Ngannou didn't take it serious at all, or didn't take it as serious as he took the Fury fight?
It's not the seriousness, it's the fear of the unknown. So you know when you like the first time you're dealing with a chick, for example, it's like, oh, what am I doing here? It's like this. But then the second time around, you're like, you know what, I'm just going to do this. And it's a bit less of a fear of the unknown. So,
but isn't it still the unknown if it's a different chick? Because what works with one doesn't necessarily work with the other.
But it's less of an unknown than never dealing with a chick. We both agree. So with Ngannou, this is the first time he's in a boxing ring. So many people supposedly fighting the best. Just put yourself in that position. There's going to be this monster you've created in your head. And when you've gone in there, you're like, oh, that wasn't too bad. And on top of that, now you're thinking that AJ's the lesser man. So you're going to take him less seriously naturally.
Okay, but if you look at it from that perspective, all right, so if you say that AJ is not as good as Fury from a technical standpoint, right, you could say that. But when you look at the records, you look at who he's fought, and then you look at the KO percentages of both people, you will then quickly learn, well, if for nothing else, this guy hits a lot harder than that previous guy did. So I'm still going to have to be on my P's and Q's to make sure that I don't get myself laid out like what happened.
Big facts. He knows that now. But I'm telling you, at the time, he's a, let's be real, Ngannou's not exactly going to be a boxing connoisseur. He's obviously going to go in there thinking, first fight, Fury. Like, this is the man. This is the face of heavyweight division. Do you know what I'm saying? He's going to go with the hype that everybody else has gone with. So he's going to be preparing a lot. He's going to be hearing this chat about, oh, it's a gimmick. This is like a circus fight. You know how TalkSport were going on and all of that. So he's going to take it seriously. And then after getting through all those rounds and him dropping him, you know he's going to be like, oh, that wasn't all that. That was easier than I thought. So that's gonna affect his preparation for the next fight.
But you want to know what the problem with your thought process is, and I agree that you can kind of look at it from that perspective. But here's the problem: in the Fury fight, if you look at how he looked in before the fight happened, from the last press conference to the weigh-in, all of that stuff, and actually in the fight, he looked extremely comfortable and focused. In the Anthony Joshua fight, even the face-off prior to the last face-off, he looked a lot more unsure of himself. When he got into the ring, he looked a lot more nervous, giving out big deep breaths, like, okay, I realized this is a much tougher assignment than the previous one. He actually learned that on the night. So I don't think he was taking it.
So you know you can take something very seriously, and then once you get into that ring, you're very relaxed because you took it seriously. It doesn't mean, like, if I'm about to go into a fight now and I've heard my opponent is a killer, I've trained so hard for 8 weeks, I've had my head down, I've not partied, I've not hit that little whatever. Now I'm going into that ring, I can be relaxed because I took it seriously. The same thing, you cannot rate somebody as much, just do a bit your bare minimum. Now you get into the ring and them two feints make you think, oh shit, I should have trained better. And now you tense up.
I mean, look, it's plausible.
Have you
Personally, and you know why I disagree with you? I'll tell you why I disagree. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and your opinion's valid. But the problem is, Francis had the opportunity to either face rematch Tyson Fury or to face Alexander Usyk and possibly become an undisputed champion in a totally different weight class than in a new sport. So there's absolutely no way that you go into that fight thinking to yourself, okay, this is going to be an easier night's work than the previous one. And outside of that also,
that's a very valid point that I'm going to address straight away. I did not say once Usyk Ngannou's not taking AJ seriously second time round.
No, but you said he took him less. He probably took him less serious because it's less of a fear of doing the sport.
So when I say less seriously, I mean, you know, in boxing, fear is a big thing and it can drive you. So it can push you to great lengths. When you fear something, you prepare for it properly. You react accordingly. Do you know what I'm saying? But once that fear is gone, you're in a vulnerable state now. You're thinking this is a game almost, and then you get knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, maybe. So ultimately, what you're relaying is saying just because AJ destroyed Ngannou and Fury didn't, that doesn't mean that them two are gonna. It's gonna be the same thing when them two happen. Is that basically saying?
Yeah, we already know that because you're obviously a knowledge guy. You know what I'm saying? You know, boxing styles make fights. So my point was more like, when we are gonna put the two against each other, let's not take away the fact that one fight came before the other, and the first fight that came in as a gimmick fight. And that is going to affect both fighters' mind state going into the preparation, because the fight is not just what happens on the night, it's everything beforehand. And then obviously the second fight is going to play out differently because now it's the second fight. And because the first fight's gone a certain way, both fighters are going to, like, bro, if let's just say Fury absolutely smoked Ngannou first fight, and then for some miraculous reason, now AJ's got the fight as well in Ngannou, which I know is not realistic, because if Ngannou got smoked, we'll never hear from him again in the boxing room. But let's just say he did get smoked by Fury, and now AJ's got the second fight. AJ's not going to have this mad motivation because, like, what have you really got to gain here smoking Ngannou? But this time he has got it because the whole world is saying, oh, Fury struggled with him. So AJ's got this thing like, you know what? I'm just going to deal with this, brother. And that, you can't say that's not going in AJ's favor.
Well, let's not forget that the fight initially was offered to Anthony Joshua and he turned it down because it was a gimmick. So if anyone didn't train for it, i.e. what you're saying, Fury probably didn't take it as serious, then that's his own fault because AJ already turned it down. Even at this time, the only reason AJ took it this time is because Deontay Wilder didn't do what he was supposed to do and win his fight, because that's who he was supposed to be facing. And then Turkey said, okay, look, if you fight him, I guarantee you that you can get the winner of Fury versus Usyk.
You can't be calling him Turkey like that, man. His Excellency.
Okay, His Excellency.
That's a bit crazy, my guy.
That's his name. Is his name not Turkey? Turkey Al Sheikh.
Turkey just sounds a bit. You get what I'm saying? Turkey
But
said.
Turkey's his first name. I mean,
Anyway, I got distracted there. You get me?
I
But
hear what you're
what was
saying.
the
I hear
point
what you're
there?
saying.
What was the point there? Sorry, what was the point there?
The point I was saying is, Fury's the reason Ngannou got any credibility into the space anyway. But
Yeah.
Anthony Joshua would have done the same thing if he had faced him first or if he had faced him second, because he takes people more seriously than Tyson Fury does. He's always done that. And Anthony Joshua was the one. He already turned down the Francis Ngannou fight beforehand.
Fury's a bit more of a showbiz man, isn't it? A bit more of the money means a bit more to Fury, getting in front of the cameras. You can see why Fury would take that fight and AJ wouldn't. I'm not. By the way, I'm not saying Fury's like ahead of AJ because the fight came first. I'm just saying like.
No, I hear what you're saying. You're saying you can't. Obviously, you have to take into perspective that different things mean.
Let's go down that road of comparing both performances and then coming up with a judgment.
But here's the problem. It's not just those performances. There is consistent data that Anthony Joshua deals with Tyson Fury opponents better than Tyson Fury does all the time. That's the problem.
How many fights have you got that they've both? So you're saying
5. They've fought 5 common opponents, and Anthony Joshua has knocked out every single one of them, and Fury only knocked out 1.
Yeah, but again,
and Fury struggled with several of them, and Anthony Joshua didn't, apart from the Klitschko fight.
You do know you can win a fight more impressively without knocking somebody down or knocking them out.
Yeah, but that didn't happen, except for one. And even on the one that I give to Tyson Fury from that 5, most people will say, well, unfortunately, it wasn't even an impressive victory because it was a stinker.
Sorry, bring me up to speed. Who are these 5? So we're talking Dillian Whyte.
Right, Dillian Whyte is 1. Vladimir Klitschko is 2.
Both man smoked Whyte. Let's just get both man absolutely demolished Whyte. No?
Yeah, so that's the knockout. That's the one in the 5. So there's Dillian Whyte, there's Vladimir Klitschko, there's Otto Wallin, there's Kevin Johnson.
We've got the Klitschko one. Let's take it one by one. We've got the Klitschko one, yeah?
Okay.
Both played out very differently. AJ made it a bit of a firefight, right? Like he nearly got knocked the fuck out, then he ended up knocking the guy the fuck out, right?
He won emphatically.
Like as a blockbuster movie, right? But not as in like when you go back to your coach, it's not going to be sitting down with you saying, yo, that was a flawless night. Do you know what I'm saying?
He's gonna say you went through the fire and you showed your heart. That's what he'd say.
So exactly. It's emphatic for me and you as viewers. But if you're talking as a coach, they're gonna be saying that we didn't need to do that. This could have been avoided. Let's try and do that. But great job, you got the job done. So with Fury's one, again, I'm not trying to pick sides here, but from my memory, he pretty much danced around him all night.
Until the last 2 rounds. And then the last 2 rounds, he actually got lit up, and he just about kind of survived in the last couple, and then obviously didn't have the rematch. But yes, he won a lot more comfortably than Anthony Joshua did. So that is a better performance overall, but it was also a very poor performance to watch. No one rewatches that fight.
Facts. Yeah.
So that's that one. Then the Otto Wallin is the third common opponent.
He got headbutt and he cut himself, and then.
No one headbutted him. He got punched. He got the cut came from a punch.
Oh, was it? Okay. And then it was pretty much flight or flight after that. Just get over the line.
Yeah. And he could have been stopped in that fight on several occasions, but obviously he was the money man. So
AJ recently just demolished my man, innit?
In 5 rounds. Yes.
Yeah, you know when I like to look at AJ, I kind of treat it as like post, like you got the AJ before Ruiz, and then you got the AJ after the mental breakdown.
I hear that, but we haven't finished with the 5 common opponents yet. So let's go to opponent number 4, Kevin Kingpin Johnson. Right?
I mean, you lost me there. I never heard the fuck of that guy. I don't know.
Okay, well, it might have been a bit before your time, but Kingpin Johnson, Tyson Fury went points with him. It was a unanimous decision, but it was a pretty competitive fight. Anthony Joshua knocked him out, I think, in the first round or the second.
And Fury went 12 rounds with him. Yeah,
Fury went distance with him, and so did Vladimir Vitaly Klitschko. So he went the distance with Kingpin Johnson as well. But AJ KO'd him in 2 rounds.
Okay, and over the distance, did them man trouble Fury, or did my man trouble Fury?
It was a couple times. Yeah.
What's your idea of trouble? What happened? Like he rocked him, or?
Yeah, he had some uncomfortable moments in there where we had to hang on, he had to hold, he had to, get the ref to break them so that he could get a little bit of extra time. Go
Okay.
go and watch the fight. I
But
mean,
when
look,
we doing it, so we're doing these 5. Is this your? But you know, stars make fight. Just because somebody has a hard.
I understand styles make fight, but what we're saying is if there's a consistent pattern here, every single person that you face that you struggle with, I deal with easily. So
If no, yeah,
it's
but
not a we're not talking about triangle theories. Yes, we're talking about styles make fights, but why is it that everyone that you have a problem with, I deal with quite easily? So ultimately, that must mean that it isn't a triangle theory. This is
I didn't
a
have a
repeat
problem with
pattern of
Fury.
behavior.
To be fair now, like I actually think AJ is gonna beat Fury, but let's be fair here. Not everybody you had trouble with, I'd beat convincingly because I never had trouble with. If I was Fury, I'll say I never had trouble with Dylan White. I never had trouble with Klitschko the way you did. No. And then
Maybe.
all the other man you're naming are unknowns, bro. So
Well, no, they're not unknowns. That you may not know them. Trust me, they're people. People know them.
all right.
Everyone knows who Kevin Kingpin Johnson is.
AJ, yeah, AJ. Like you see this new AJ, he's in a much better place. And if he's ever gonna beat Fury, it's thanks to everything he's been through the last few years. Because if that AJ showed up, that Ruiz AJ showed up to Fury, Fury would just shock him and think, "Right, this guy's got fast hands, and what am I doing with it?" So AJ's in a much better place because he actually pushed himself and tested himself. And AJ's arsenal is a lot more complete now. So I'm actually leaning with AJ if they were to fight Fury. And I'll hold my hands up. A couple years back, like when AJ was in the midst of the usage thing, I was thinking, yo, this guy's got no chance, bro. I felt like AJ's a man trying to discover himself. But now, when on the other side, I'm thinking, rah, those things actually now will go in AJ's favor, you know? And with Fury, it's been the opposite. It's actually like, in a way, he's almost lost himself and he's getting older and he's created this persona of better than everyone. So, and I feel like all those things are going to go against Fury. Now, I think AJ, like, this is the thing I say about boxing and preparing for fights. Like, the build up, it matters so much. The perception of what the world thinks a fight means, because that does filter through to the fighters. And that is what kind of the importance you place on something will get you through it. Like Fury now is, I can imagine for AJ, he's like some big scalp that he just wants to claim, you know, and just lay that to rest. Probably more than even winning the belts.
You know what? I hear you, but I feel like you came on the call basically saying that the fight won't play out the way people feel just because he did a better job on Ngannou. But ultimately, you've then come around and said, "But he's going to deal with Fury." You believe he's going to do so. Really and truly, you kind of just like pulled back the same argument that you came in on. So
I feel like, brother, I think you thought my first argument was an argument for why Fury's better than AJ.
No, I never said that at all. I knew what you were trying to say, but ultimately the argument you came in was saying people are thinking it's going to go this way because he dealt with him like that and he struggled, but that's not how it works out in real life. But yet you're still coming in and saying that I believe AJ's still going to beat him, but you're still thinking the same thing everyone else is thinking now. So
do you know what I'm saying? I'm saying tread carefully with this approach, because you see Fury's the kind of man on the night, if he feels like it's a big challenge, he can put his A game forward, and Fury at his best can be AJ, bro. That's not unheard of. Fury can nullify AJ.
His old best, maybe not this new version of Fury. He can't get back to what his best was.
So who's the new version? You tell me who's the new version.
What, the new version of Fury? The one that wants to sit and plant his feet and like try and engage with people.
So where
the one in the best version of Tyson Fury since the comeback was the second Wilder fight. But Wilder's the only person he imposed that kind of game style on. He didn't do it with Derek Chisora, who he'd already knocked out twice already. He didn't do it against Dillian White. He didn't do it against Ngannou, or couldn't do it against Ngannou. He didn't do it against Wallin. He didn't do it against Schwartz. He was only able to do it against a one Deontay Wilder. This guy is not who the people think he is. So when you're saying that the best version of him can beat Anthony Joshua, well, the best version of him was gone. And this new version of him is not going to be able to get back to whatever he may have been.
Bro, what I'm saying to you is, you see what Fury did to Klitschko, like nullified him.
Until the last 2 rounds, and then ran from the rematch.
If he's gonna beat AJ, it will be that kind of performance. You're not gonna go away thinking, raw, Fury just like destroyed Joshua, it will literally be a thing where Joshua is gonna like not be able to do the damage he wants, not be able to, like, Fury can pull that out the bag, and it's probably not like too difficult for him. It's just getting himself prepared.
He can't anyway. And even when he did it with we have to remember, when he did it with Klitschko, that was because he already was doing well with the mind games for Klitschko. AJ's been on him for time to want to fight him. It's a different process.
Look,
AJ, remember, AJ's gonna be the underdog in this. Fury was the underdog in that. So he's always going to come with a different level. So
but
unfortunately, that one don't work.
I'm just telling you, be careful who you hang your hat on, because you're putting all your chips on it like this is a full-gone conclusion. I'm here saying I'm leaning over to AJ, but this fanaticism of AJ is gonna wipe the floor with Fury, and how could we not see it, and now we see it. Tread carefully, my brother, because if Fury does pull one of those performances out the bag and your man AJ doesn't land anything, you're going to be the guy that said AJ is going to steamroll him. I'm not saying AJ is going to lose to him, but I'm saying it's very possible for Fury to pull out a slick Fox performance and outwit the guy, nullify the guy, and win the fight on points.
Though, dude, I'm happy to stand strong on anything I say and then take the backlash if it buckles. The same as I did with the Dillian White situation, I'm quite happy to do it with this one. But listen, Waleed, I've gone 20 minutes over what I was planning to do. Big up to you. Make sure you tune in again next week, and if you want to come back with more topics, we can talk and discuss that.
It's my first time, and I hold my hands up, man. I like fighting. I've been in the ring a few times. And my main thing is UFC, actually. I've more been tuning into boxing the last few years. My guy Anthony Hayward has been putting me onto it. So yeah, I'm here to learn as well. You get me? I didn't want to come across as a know-it-all. I just wanted to say this whole argument of comparing the two fights. Let's add these layers that people are just not talking about.
I hear you. All right, bless. Big up. Tune on next week, man. Peace. No, it was an interesting debate. I understand his point of view. To be fair, I respect him for coming on. Like he said, first time. Apologies though. I'm gonna read all the comments, but I ain't got time to read them on the stream. I'm gonna read them as soon as I finish it off. But ladies and gentlemen, shout out to everyone who has tuned in. Appreciate you all. It got interesting. I enjoyed it. But yeah, I'm gonna catch you all next week on the next live. Look out for the episode, the Hardcore Casual, tomorrow, dropping at some time. Basis picks on Friday. Maybe we'll do something. Might even do a cheeky little watch along on Saturday. Haven't decided yet, but that Dalton Smith fight could be a little tasty one to get into. So until then, oh, actually, no. I have to read one thing before I do go. Apologies. Karma, shout out to you. Late, but you're here. Appreciate you all the time. $4.99 super chat. Thank you very much. Everyone else, I will read your comments. Yeah, I'll read your comments as soon as I end the stream. But big up and speak to you soon. The Hardcore Casual signing out, and that's the casual stream, the first of them. Done.
Maybe I'ma make it, maybe I'm not. In time we'll see. But who better than me? I don't care if you agree. I ain't saying I'm better than anyone. But who better than me?